Hi fans of high quality entertainment. I thought of this idea last night, always thinking of new video ideas. And this one I've never done before. And even though it's not the end of the year yet, I feel I'm just excited to do it. And maybe I'll discover one more artist before the year is up, one or two more artists. But these are 10 solo artists and bands that I've become a pretty big fan of in the last year. Even if they've been, around for years and years, I just never listened to their music until the past year. And I'd like to thank like Paul Ayres and Pow for sending me some music, and the CD exchange with Glenn Kellaway from the Basement, and also when we did it with Rich Strickler on his channel. And besides these artists, there's also, I have a new appreciation this past year for the Moody Blues. Big fan of their early albums now. The Undertones, I've totally, I've had them in my CD collection for years, but kind of been ignoring them until the past few months, and huge fan again. The sensational Alex Harvey Band. Of course, the Beatles' Red and Blue albums. Really impressed with those. And Sparks, yeah. I feel their album this year, The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte, is one of their best. So I played that a lot this year. So here we go. And these are ranked, starting with number 10. I'd always known about this artist, and I'd heard, 2 or 3 of his hit singles, and his partnership off and on with a certain other solo artist that I love. But I've never really listened to any of his albums until they were kindly sent to me. And I just want to say Nick Lowe is very impressive. I've listened to both of these and I love all of the songs. Just a great songwriter, great artist. And it only took me over 40 years to finally listen to him. He's number 10. But number 10 doesn't mean it's not good. Yeah. Now, number 9 is another solo artist that's been around probably since the late 60s. Yes, I know. Daddy's doing a video. Don't disturb me. Yeah, this artist has been around probably since the late 60s. Always heard about him, never really listened to his music. And then in one of the CD exchanges on Rich Strickler's channel, I had to listen to this album for a week. And I loved it. Yes, Richard Thompson. So besides this album, I also have 13 Rivers, Mock Tudor, Amnesia, and Still. Just once again, an excellent artist, great guitar player. So, Richard Thompson. Number 8. This is one of the more recent ones. I did a full album reaction to this album and this band about two or 3 weeks ago for Gene or Pow. And I think I gave the album rating a solid A. Once again, this band has been around since the 80s, or late 70s. And I just thought they were a typical punk band. And, I do like some punk music, like Sex Pistols, Ramones. But this band I kind of ignored. I thought they were a little silly. but they're damn good. And so, and this is the only album I've heard so far, but I definitely want to hear more. And they're still, together today. It's The Damned, and this is the Black Album. And I'm thinking of possibly, maybe not this coming week, but in our album exchange at some point, requesting people listen to The Damned and the Black Album. Yeah, it's definitely not just punk music. Very talented band. So number 7. Now this is a band I had heard before in the probably the pretty early 70s. I bought this album in a cutout bin, and maybe because of my age, I never totally. I kind of liked it and I kind of didn't like it. But then, in the past year, I listened to this album on Spotify, and there's 2 versions of the album. And the version I had was very good, but the other version, the UK version, was even better. And it is the band Colosseum. And yeah, even Glenn Kellaway from The Basement. And whenever CD exchanges, he listened to this. I think he ranked it number 1. And he has this album too. So yeah, it was, it's two versions of the album. There's an American version with some different songs. This is the UK version. And I love the album cover too. It kind of reminds me of Black Sabbath's debut. It's kind of creepy. And this was the US version. The Grass is Greener, which is really good too. And so this double CD has both of the versions. And I definitely want to check out more early Colosseum. Jazz rock at its finest. It's amazing. I forgot one. Yeah, I skipped number 6, so I'm inserting it into this video. Number 6 is a band I had heard of before in the 70s, and I really liked. I think my older brother had 1 or 2 of their albums, and they were very impressive. But then I just kind of didn't bother with them anymore until this past year when I bought Nectar, Remember the Future. If you love progressive rock, really good progressive rock, I highly recommend this album to start with for Nectar. And then I also have Recycled. You can just kind of tell this is a prog rock album. And their debut album, Journey to the Center of the Eye, which is more kind of like psychedelic rock. And progressive rock too. The double album Sounds Like This and Down to Earth. Okay. I need to take a break because I'm old. Just a second. Okay, let's go on with number 5. So number 5, once again, I actually listened to I'd forgotten that Pal, she sent me some CDs, including this one, but she wanted me to do a full album reaction again on Patreon. So I'd already listened to it once, but I love the album. And I think I gave it a solid A again. And I've always been curious about this band, especially their first album, The Modern Dance. And I just never really listened to them very much until Pow sent me this. And I love it. And I definitely want to get more. Pere Ubu. And this is Cloudland. Once again, I'm thinking at some point for our album exchanges, of having people listen to this, hopefully. It's a bit more easy, not easy listening, but a bit more commercial than some of their other crazier stuff, but it's not overly commercial. It's still just a fun listen and really, really, really good. Number 4, once again, I'd always heard about this band for years and years and years, and never, I might have tried to check them out, but you know, sometimes you don't give a band enough time. And so, I love this album. It's one of the craziest albums, and it's a double. It's one of the craziest albums I've ever heard. You know, I have a limit to craziness with music, but I can handle this, and it is Can. Tego Mago. It's a double album, and like I said, some of it is pretty out there, but the musicianship is excellent, and I definitely want to get more of the early albums of Can. Number 3, same old story, an artist, a solo artist, used to be in a band, of course, but he's had a solo career for many, many, many years, and I just totally ignored it. And I think, once again, it was on the CD exchange on Rich Strickler's channel when I first heard one of his albums. And I now have all of his albums, and some live albums and a couple of compilations. It is Paul Weller. What a great artist. Love his vocals, love his guitar work, love the variety in his music. So I even have these in order. I usually don't, but I did it for this video. So Paul Weller, his first album, and then Wildwood. Yeah, it was Stanley Road, the one that I listened to. And Glenn Kellaway likes this one too a lot. Stanley Road, Heavy Soul, I don't know how you pronounce that, helicentric or helicentric. Somebody will correct me. Illumination, Studio 150, As Is Now, double album 22 Dreams, Wake Up the Nation, Sonic Kicks, Saturn's Pattern. So these are all in order when they were released. A Kind of Revolution, True Meanings, On Sunset, and his latest, Fat Pop. And then I've got an orchestrated songbook, Paul Weller, with an orchestra. I like, he does different genres of music. And then these, a couple of live albums here. Live Wood. And Days of Speed, another live album. This one comes with a DVD. And then 2 box sets of compilations, B-sides and rarities. The first one came out in the early 2000s, Fly on the Wall, with 3 CDs. And recently, Will of the People, another one with 3 CDs, and they're excellent. And that's it for Paul Weller. We're on to the top 2. Aren't you excited? I know I am. Yeah, number 2, you know, once again, it could easily be number 1. Sometimes rankings are silly. I don't know why I do them. But yeah, thanks to Paul Ayres, a Patreon member, sending me the Residents Duck Stab. I have 4 more of their albums. I have the Residents present the 3rd, I won't say the name, but yeah, this album cover was banned. Meet the Residents, their very first album. The first album by North Louisiana's phenomenal pop combo. Not available. And the latest I've bought, Eskimo. And each one of them are totally different. They're, once again, kind of like Can. They're really out there. Every first listen for all of the albums, it's like, okay. And then, you know, further listens, you just get more and more out of it. And I seriously, you know, like I said, some weird stuff, it's like, no, I'm not bothering with that. This kind of weird, I love. And I play them a lot, too. I mean, every time I play each of the albums, I enjoy them more and more. So number 1 for me, Glenn Calloway's going to be so happy to hear this. In our recent album exchanges, I've been pushing this album, and actually this coming Sunday, 3 of my fellow YouTubers are going to be reviewing and rating this album. So please check out our album exchange series. The band is Ween. This album is called Quebec, and I definitely want to get more Ween albums. I love this album. There's 15 songs. It spans such a variety of music in it, from one song that is kind of Motorhead-ish to these really kind of dark and emotional songs. And in between, you know, silly song, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 silly songs. But the band is just so talented, some incredible guitar work. There's one guitar solo on, I forget which song it is at the moment, but it's one of the greatest guitar solos I've ever heard. And so yeah, I'll be talking about Ween for a long, long time. Sorry, Glenn. And that is it. Those are my top 10 artists I've discovered in 2023 ranked. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you've discovered in the past year, and also let me know what you think of any of the artists that I've been talking about. Bye.